Hello everyone. Today I would like to present you Uyirvayu, which stands for life-giving air in two Indian languages, Tamil and Sanskrit. And this is the problem that we were trying to solve. In the National Capital Territory of New Delhi, there are 30,000 deaths every year. And that's a really saddening fact when you consider that there are only 32 million people in that city. And it's such a sizable chunk of the population that is having to die because of such a preventable cause. So this is what we invented to solve this problem. This was a product that emerged because of the CSET challenge, the Commonwealth Sustainable Energy Transition Challenge, where we were asked to solve a problem using sustainable energy. So our solution was this Uyirvayu, an eco-friendly air purifier that virtually anyone can assemble in their houses, which is what we plan to do when we launch it for future venture ideas. And it's powered by solar power, which is a renewable source of energy, as we all know. Now, I'd like to take you through the journey through which we actually were able to create this innovation. So we first wanted to use jute as our filtration material, and that did not prove easy to do because jute is a very heavy filter and you need such a high power fan to power through the jute filter and actually get air through it. The pollutants would fall off the surface of the jute, so that would not be practical. But then jute is an amazing eco-friendly filter material, and we wanted to make it as eco-friendly as possible. So that was why we started to consider it. And then we were intending to use an electrochemical cell to power the fan of the air purifier. But then electrochemical cells are not very efficient as well. They can only produce very little power, and we would need such huge tanks of salt water or any other bioenzyme or such to actually power our whole system. So that did not work out. Then we were considering HEPA filters, which stands for high efficiency particulate air filters. And these are the most commonly found ones on the market. So we thought we could integrate our activated carbon filters into these filters and then allow the air to flow through them so that we could maximize the efficiency of our filters. But the problem with these was they're a little hard to find where we're from, which is a very small part of the country where there aren't many resources to build innovations like these. So we had to settle for steel mesh and chicken wire and mosquito nets to hold our activated carbon so that it would form a solid filter material. And it shows that innovation or necessity is the mother of innovation, I believe. That's the quote. So it shows that when there's no room to do anything, there's room for creativity. And that's how we figured that part out. And finally, the air quality sensors, which we wanted to use, were very expensive. So we figured out that we could use a simple gas module sensor, which does not have any kind of integrated robotic component to it. And we would figure out the robotic part by programming our own Arduino and attaching it to the gas module sensor so that the final air quality sensor that we were able to produce was actually 1/100th of the cost of the ones that we found on the market. So now I'd like to introduce you to the actual components of our innovation. So activated carbon, it's an amazing source of filtration media because it's eco-friendly adsorbent. It's produced from old coconut shells and fibers that would otherwise be very hard to decompose in natural environments. So it's using a product that would otherwise go to waste. And it's also able to hold so much pollutants in its the spaces between each part of the activated carbon, because the surface of the activated carbon has many micropores which attract pollutants towards it, and then it's able to just hold them within the activated carbon. And it may raise the question that how are we going to keep doing this for a long period of time, because activated carbon will keep accumulating pollutants. But then that makes it an easy way for you to replace your filter as well, because the ones on the market, you have to completely buy a new one when it starts getting old, when it can't hold any more pollutants in it. Our filters are easy to immediately replace, and so you just need to fill in more activated carbon when needed, and that is how the system works. So I'd like to brief you on the next steps that we're planning to take. So bentonite clay is a desiccant, naturally found desiccant, and that's much needed so that in humid areas where there is too much water content to actually pull in air pollutants, and the air activated carbon is allowed to filter, we'll be using this in an integrated system so that it actually works in humid areas as well. And energy storage is much required because solar energy, as you know, only works during the most favorable conditions, meaning good light from the sun and also no weather disturbances. So we are trying to figure out a sand battery system or a similar system that can store enough energy so that people who want to use the air purifier at night can do so with ease. And electrostatic precipitation is a new technology that is able to attract particular pollutants in the air towards the filters so that it's easier for the filters to go through the pollutants and go through the air so that more air gets out. And that is very important because right now it's hard to draw the pollutants towards the air, towards the filters, and that significantly reduces the efficiency. So I'd like to thank everyone who has given me this opportunity. I'd like to thank my teammates, Shreya, Kaushik, and Deeksha who are unable to be here. And I'm excited to take your questions. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was such a great presentation. It's so obvious that you put so much work into this. I just want to say that I think what you're doing is very impressive, and I think you're trying to solve a real world problem, which is what this is all about. I don't have any questions for you. I just wanted to let you know that I think what you're doing is incredible, and you're obviously very, very smart for putting all this work in and be able to talk about all these scientific terms like it's nothing.
Thank you.
I do have a question for you, Deeksha. What was the most challenging part of the whole process you just laid out? I mean, there had to be something that came difficult for you that you had to overcome, and I'd love to know what that is.
Yes, definitely. So I do not have much background in scientific innovation, actually. I am a writer. I've written a few books. Written one book and a few are in the making. And I just like going through research papers and compiling research and doing that kind of thing. So getting familiar with all these scientific terms and actually figuring out how to create a system that works properly and then going to test it in a lab was challenging, but I had a lot of support from the people around me, so it was not too hard. My teammates were experienced in this field. They had worked on environmental projects before, and I had some advocacy experience from encouraging young people to step up and work on environmental issues. So it was something that integrated all of our expertise, and it was not too hard to do in that aspect.
That's pretty incredible. What do you see yourself doing next after this?
Well, this honestly was not the biggest project that I want to work on. I want to work on genetic engineering because I think that's an emerging field that's able to solve a lot of environmental problems. And because biology is my home field, I want to use genetic engineering for solving all the environmental problems I see around me. So one of the applications I'm thinking about right now is using gene editing of specific bacteria to degrade plastics so that they become their actual carbon building blocks and not some other toxic product, because that's what happens during the traditional recycling processes. And that's what I wanted to prevent. So it has been done some in labs and in other places, but it hasn't actually come out in to the market. So I want to make that a much more feasible practice.
In your spare time.
Yeah,
That's a joke. And how old are you?
I'm 16.
Wow. I can't imagine what you're going to be doing at age 25 if this is what you're doing at age 16. That's pretty incredible. Excellent job. Excellent presentation. Please do come back on a future gift and let us know what you're doing next, and let us know the update on the things you have been doing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.